How's it going, everyone? Welcome back or welcome to the channel. I'm Steven, and this is Just BSing. Today, Chris and I will be going retro and taking a look at the original Kenner Superpower successor, the 1989 Toy Biz DC Superheroes. It was a short-lived line and not quite as good as Kenner in our opinion, but that just goes to show you, long before McFarlane Toys, toy companies were trying to recapture the magic that Kenner brought to our lives as children. And fans of the channel know we are massive fans of Kenner Superpowers and a lot of what McFarlane Toys is doing with the Superpowers comeback. But since we're still waiting for McFarlane Toys to ship out our Wave 7 order, even though people all across the country are finding them in stores now, hey, let's keep it positive and take another look at a blast from the past in the meantime. So go ahead and drop a like, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and join Chris and I as we take another deep dive in the nostalgia pool of action figure goodness today on Just BSing.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
So let's actually run through some of the packaging first. I do have the card backs. I don't have the full packages, obviously.
You said love package.
I sure did. We say package a lot in our videos, I've noticed. So these are what the card backs looked like. This was for Batman 1989. This was of course, Batman. This was the Joker. Then we have Bob the Joker's Goon. We have Superman. We have Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Lantern, Robin, Hawkman, Aquaman,
Mr. Luthor,
Lex Luthor, the Penguin, the Riddler, Two-Face, and Mr. Freeze, who Chris and I both talked about. We're just go ahead and start with Mr. Freeze. We'll pull him up here.
Yeah.
This is the Mr. Freeze action figure here. Chris and I both talked about this. We both used him as Lex Luthor in a power suit.
Yep.
Mostly because I don't think either one of us were gigantic fans of Mr. Freeze as the character at that time. I like him now.
Now, I honestly remember him as a kid, and I thought it was Lex Luthor in the power suit.
Yeah.
So that's how I always used him.
I knew this was Mr. Freeze, but I did the same thing. I used him as Lex Luthor in the power suit, mostly because the face on this Mr. Freeze looks more like the Kenner Lex Luthor.
Yes.
It does not look like the DC Superheroes Toy Biz Lex Luthor, who we'll go and talk about him now. We'll start with the villains.
Yeah.
This is Lex Luthor with his amazing power action figure of punching himself in the head. Yeah, no, so it's supposed to be a kryptonite ring that he holds up, but that doesn't stop, and it just continues going until he gives himself a concussion. Also, he came with a pistol, which does all against Superman, so that's fantastic.
It's George Reeves. They would throw the guns at him, so that's probably what he did
Throw the gun at him, so we've got, Lex Luthor there.
Yeah.
Go to a Batman villain, we have the Penguin with his trusty umbrella. Now, they did do something a little bit different from the Kenner line here in that, if you remember, the Penguin and the Joker both had a detachable tail on their costumes, and you always lost them. They always fell off, always lost them. So they just put a little bit of a smaller tail on the back of there and didn't have it detached, but otherwise, pretty much the same exact mold.
Yeah, pretty much the exact same one. And that's why maybe this is very nostalgic to me. This is pretty much...
This is the one you had?
It may be. They're very similar, but again, that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
See if his missile action on the umbrella still works. Yes, it does. Look at that. There we go. Very cool. Very cool. All right, and next we have another Batman villain. We've got Harvey Two-Face with his gigantic coin to flip, which this was actually pretty cool. He's got the little control here on the side where you turn it and he flips his coin. His whole hand flips, so he's got other issues.
Is it a dime?
It is a dime, but it's like actual size dime
actually, hold on, let me see.
not
I think I actually
size.
have a dime on me. I wonder if that's the same.
It is pretty, it is real size, actually a little bit bigger than a real dime.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, that's funny. It does not the figure size dime, but still a pretty cool little action feature there.
That's pretty cool. I did not have him, but he's really cool looking.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
It's interesting they went with orange and blue.
Orange and blue with the green face. It works. It works. It was probably the first Two-Face action figure that I think maybe up until that time that they ever even made. So that's pretty cool.
You're probably right.
We got another Batman villain. This is the Riddler. This is not a Green Lantern repainted, as Super Amigos had from the Kenner line. This is an actual Riddler. Now, I believe is that I think that's the Flash body mold from the Kenner line. That looks a lot like the Flash body mold from the Kenner line, and kind of a Pee Wee Herman-ish looking head on this Riddler. And he did come with, I think it was, yeah, he comes with little riddles. So you get like fortune cookie style riddles that he comes with.
That's kind of cool.
Let's check one out. We'll just read one. Why did Batman freeze the Riddler in a block of ice?
No idea.
He wanted to see a hardened criminal. All right, moving right along with our villains, we have Bob, the Joker's goon, complete with a knife. I think he also did come with a gun, and he came with his trusty hat there.
And of course, Bob was only in the '89 Batman movie.
Yep, but not for very long because, you know, well, we know Bob's fate. No spoilers, but Garrett, there he is with his hat. This one,
he's the Joker's number one man.
He's my number one guy. So he has a kick here, and that's. Unfortunately, it looks like this one. Now, these are old guys. These are very old, but this doesn't, his leg doesn't go back into position, so he'll never be able to stand again. Much like Bob from the 1989
Why would they
Batman.
give him a kicking action? Is it like Bobby Hill? I don't know you. That's my purse.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
Yeah, I don't know. You can throw knees and stuff like that. He's got the lever.
Maybe that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be throwing a knee.
Got the lever on the back, but like I said, this one, it just doesn't snap back into place. I can get it to go all the way back, and then it doesn't go forward, and then his hat falls off. But yep, so that's Bob the Joker's goon. Now
another one I did not have, but that's really cool.
I didn't
even know he had his own.
He did.
Action figure.
So I did have this one. What I did, I peeled the sticker. He's got a Joker sticker on his costume there. I peeled that off, and I used him as General Zod. So he had the all black outfit, kind of Terrence Stampish, a little less hair than Terrence Stamp had, but I did use this as General Zod for most of my childhood. And of course we got the man himself, and the last of our villains, we've got the Joker holding his staff in his hand as the Joker does.
I definitely had this one.
Yep, thank you. Got his hat there. This one does not fit on his head at all, so I just kind of have to balance it. And in fact, I have to balance it backwards, otherwise it won't stay on it at all. So you kind of have to balance that on there, and it still doesn't stay on. Came with this is another pretty cool little action feature. You fill this up with water. He's got a hole on the back of his shoulder there. You feed the tube through, and then his flower squirts the poison mist. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That was neat.
This was a fun one. Now this was not my favorite Joker. I much preferred the Kenner over this one, just the way he looked. And this doesn't look like Jack Nicholson in the slightest. So it didn't even really kind of fit the Batman '89, but I still had it and I still enjoyed it. He did have a actually very cool Joker van that I had.
Oh, I didn't know about the Joker van.
Don't have the Joker van in my collection anymore, unfortunately, but that's what I liked the most about this Joker was that Joker van and all of that. No, this one is, again, these are very old. I did buy these relatively recently within the last couple of years and unboxed them. So these are not my original childhood figures, but they are still very old.
So prior to our channel, guys.
Prior to the channel.
That's why there's no unboxing.
We have had a few of these in some of our past McFarlane Superpowers when we were doing some comparison shots. Now his head does not appear to turn anymore, and I think the paint has just dried up. And I don't want to try to turn it because it might snap off. So just be aware if you are starting to collect these, most of these came out, they felt very kind of like grimy, sticky. Like the paint they'd probably been kept in not so great condition. So some of that paint, so it may have melted a little bit. So just guys be aware if you're buying these off a third party and you're not 100% sure how they were taken care of and you're unpackaging them, be very, very careful. I have cleaned these off so they're not really sticky, grimy so much anymore, but they do still have some stiff joints and arms and legs and things like that. Now we can get into our heroes. We'll start with the one that is most nostalgic for me. This is the Batman 1989 Michael Keaton style action figure. This is the one that had a face more reminiscent of Michael Keaton. They actually made several different molds of the Batman head, several different heads.
Was it all the same still type of action figure?
Yeah, there were actually subtle changes on some of them, and to be honest with you, I don't know which one I have. I think I may have the second or third version, so it's got slightly different arms, but they had a square-jawed version and another, it was kind of a even more round face than this, but this was my favorite, and this was the one I was able to track down. Comes with the Batarang, comes with a grapple gun in here somewhere as well. Yeah, here's the grapple gun that it comes with. And the action feature on this one, I love this, was the utility belt comes out, you can use it as a grapple hook, kind of slide him up into the bat cave and that kind of thing. I believe also you could actually feed it through the Batarang, because it's got a little loop on the side there, and you can kind of have him come up as if he's like sliding up on the Batarang itself. This one was so nostalgic for me because it was so hard to find.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys remember, we're old, so I don't know if you remember back when rain checks were a thing at stores. I don't even know if they still do those.
I highly doubt it. They'll tell you, no, we have it at this other store location.
Yeah, this was impossible to find when it first came out. I wanted this so much. My poor mom drove me around to every store, just nobody had it. So we put in rain checks at like Target, Kmart, Toys R Us, everywhere you could put in a rain check. Ended up actually getting it as a gift from someone else who was able to track it down. And I think they were in another city or another state from where we were. Was able to get this as a kid. I actually had two different versions of it. I had the square jawed version and the other rounder face version. So I never had this one as a kid. This was the one I really, really wanted.
That's funny. I had no idea as a kid that there were different ones. But I remember this one as well. I still remember when mine broke and I was basically so heartbroken, disappointed when it happened.
And this utility belt snapped off all the time, so that was always disappointing when it snapped off and you couldn't really get it back in there, and so you lost your action feature. Now the good thing was it still looked pretty decent because underneath it still looks like a utility belt, but didn't have the cool action feature anymore. Now, talking about variants, the Joker actually had a variant as well, a very strange one too. He just had a couple of little curls that came down over his forehead from his hair. A couple of little green curls.
Didn't know that either. That's really
I didn't know that until recently, and when I was looking them up, I was like, oh, that's interesting that they would do. That's such a subtle variant. I don't know why they would do that. All right, now we'll go into Batman's sidekick. We've got Robin, and he also came with a Batarang, which I thought was actually pretty cool because Robin usually doesn't come with anything. He's got a karate chop feature. This one still works pretty well, I think. I say that, and then it won't do it. Nope, doesn't work. But he's supposed to do a karate chop. That mechanism does not seem to work anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, I did not have this one, but he does look very similar to the...
Looks almost exactly like the Kenner.
Yep.
So actually, when I first saw this, the other superheroes, I knew about the Batman line was out. The other superheroes, I had no idea they were coming out. Like, obviously, this was way before internet. Was just happened to be in a store, I believe it was Kmart, and saw these on the shelf, and they only had a few of them. The first two I got were Robin and Superman. So I was able to get Robin and Superman at the same time. This is the Superman, very cool. Also multiple heads for this guy.
Oh, didn't know that either.
So this was the more Kenner style head. This one looks very, very reminiscent of the Kenner figure. There was another one that had a rounder face. Looked kind of like George Reeves, actually. I ended up at one point or another having both. So this was the first one I got, and with the Kenner style face, and the other one I got later on down the line. The paint on these did not hold up as well as Kenner.
That's why I had multiple Superman. But I love this one for one of the accessories.
The accessories, we'll get to that right now. He came with a kryptonite ring. Now,
I mean, that was one of the coolest things.
It was very cool. And it still actually is very cool. The technology here, it's just magnets, but let's see if we can get it to work. All right, so we had the kryptonite ring, Superman, Lex coming to him with that kryptonite ring. Hit him right in the chest, and bam, fall over.
Still love it.
Still an awesome action feature, even today. Next, we have the Green Lantern. This is a Hal Jordan Green Lantern, although his hair is more red, kind of more Guy Gardner-ish in the color there. This lantern is awful. I hate the lantern on this one when you compare it to Kenner and what McFarlane has done with some of the lanterns. Did not have this one as a kid.
Didn't have him either. He comes with an accessory as well. I was looking at the box, and basically it's the same like the Joker.
Yep, actually I have it right here.
Right there. It's got a little hole right behind his arm right there. You plug that in there, and it actually shoots water out of his ring there.
Very cool. Very cool. Yep.
Never had him, but I thought it was a really cool feature on the box.
I did not have this one either. Let's see, I'm trying to think. Of the ones I've shown so far, I've had all of those. I had all of those as a kid. This was one I did not have, but I loved the Kenner Green Lantern because it just looks so much better. This one we've shown in a video before. I remember you vividly saying you never had this one, and you were very excited about this action feature where he...
It was
very cool. So cool.
Everybody else's arm action, you do it for him.
Yeah, so I mean, it's essentially the same action feature as the Kenner had, except there's a lever to do instead of like squeezing the arms and making the legs kick. Also did not have this one just because I was not a fan, wasn't a big fan of Aquaman in general as a kid, and This one looks so much worse to me than the Kenner. I still had my Kenner version, so I never picked this one up. But as an adult, it's glad to have him as part of the collection.
Was there one of those that actually had like a wind-up that kicked?
Oh, actually, yep, you're right. So there is another. This is the Flash, and he does have a wind-up as well. Makes his arms go.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking
there
of then.
You go,
okay.
Just furiously masturbating. Oh, so good, so good. Yeah, this one I did have. I did have this Flash.
I had this one as well.
I really like the Kenner a lot better, but my Kenner Flash broke, and I wanted another Flash. I was a big fan of the Flash, so got this one. So love that one as well. We also have the last of the Trinity. We've got Wonder Woman. She came with her, this lasso is very frayed, so it's not the best representation of a lasso.
But at least she came with the lasso.
She did come with the lasso. Now, this is, the face is very Kenner. This is a very Kenner face.
She's got no neck.
She's got no neck. Like, she's very squatty here. She looks like she would be in real life about 4'3". And that is not the Wonder Woman we know and love. I did not have this one. I preferred the Kenner Wonder Woman. Loved that figure, so I never picked this one up as a kid.
What's the little thing on the back do?
It's a chop.
Oh.
And look at the way the stars are painted on her trunks. They're all wonky. The stars
They're kind of like all over the place.
Just kind of all over the place. There's no rhyme or reason to it. That's hilarious. I just noticed that. I wonder if they were all like that. That's very funny.
Probably, yeah.
And then finally, and I got to put his wing back on, we have Hawkman. And this is one I also had because I love that character. Was very disappointed in this one because it was not as good as Kenner again. Now this one has a lever that I guess he flaps his wings, but they barely.
Oh wow.
They barely do it. The Kenner was much better. That's
kind of cool though. I never had Hawkman, so that's pretty cool.
And he's got his mace. Comes with his mace, which is pretty cool.
It's a little hard to get your finger in there and push the lever. So it's designed for kids.
I was gonna say, I assume as a kid this was a little bit easier. Still, I can still get in there. The wings don't stay on very well. They fall off pretty easily.
That's still a pretty cool little feature though.
Yeah, it is. So this one, not bad. Like I said, I much preferred the Kenner Hawkman. I think the reason I got this one, I think my Kenner lost his wings. Oh. And so I wanted a Hawkman with wings again, so this was the next best option. But overall, man, this line was pretty cool. This was a fun line as a kid. If they were made a little bit better, I think this was the pre-Marvel. I think this was before the Toy Biz started doing Marvel, because their Marvel action figures were quite a bit better as far as quality goes than these were. The first two phases or series of the Marvel line were very, very similar to these as far as paint quality and body stature and that kind of thing goes. Then they got significantly better as the line went on, and Toy Biz kept that line. So, well, let's give this our Just BSing rating. We'll just rate this as a toy line. We won't rate individual figures. What are you thinking?
I do like a lot of them. I had a lot of them. Like I said, it was very nostalgic for me seeing like these. I think I did have about half of them.
Right.
I like it. I'm going to give it a good rating.
Good rating. Yeah.
Just because of it. I like Bob. I never seen
That's Bob. Or General Zod. Depending on who you are.
General Zod. But for me, it was. I still just love that Superman with the kryptonite ring. That's
Superman with the kryptonite ring is the standout. So I think I'll agree with that. I think I would go. I'm bordering not BS and good. I would say Superman and Batman of this, these are so good. I know we said we weren't going to rank the individuals, but those two are so good. So they bring the rest of this line up for me. So if these weren't as good as they were, that would be a not BS. Being as good as they are, I have to bump it up to a good as well. So I'm with you on that. We're going to go good for the Toy Biz DC Superheroes line. Well, there you have it, guys. Another Superpowers adjacent blast from the past. We hope you enjoyed this look at the Toy Biz DC Superheroes, which was a fun little toy line, especially as a kid. As you saw, overall we rated it good. But not quite as good as Kenner Superpowers, of course. And hey, if you're still with us on this video, let us know down in the comments if you had this line, still have this line, and what your own personal rating of it is. And if you're one of those rare few who actually prefer this line and think it's superior to the Kenner's Superpowers line, let us know that as well. We'd love to hear from you. And hey, if you didn't already do it, consider dropping us a like, hitting that subscribe button, especially those of you who've stopped by a few times and still haven't subscribed. I see you. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Listen, we've got a ton of great action figure content. In fact, I'll link the Go Figure playlist so you can catch up on any of the action figure videos that you may have missed. And we've got other great videos on movies, on games, on shows, all kinds of miscellaneous BS for you to catch up on, as soon as you hit that subscribe button, of course. But as always, we appreciate you stopping by and BSing with us. Take care, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.